Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Crypto. My name's Don. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching today's video. If you are watching it live, good morning. I hope you all have a coffee ready to go on hand for today's episode. We have seen some price action finally, so I'm going to get into that in just a sec. However, I do have loads of news to get through, so sit back, relax, and get ready for yet again another great episode. So, first things first, like I said, we have seen some price action. Maybe not the price action that some people wanted to see, but we have some price action nonetheless. Now, let's get into it. Let's talk prices. So first things first, Bitcoin's currently sitting at 28,991. Ethereum's at 1,826. We then have BNB at $238. XRP has just taken a bit of a dive and it's currently sitting at 65 cents. We then have Dogecoin at 73 cents. Cardano at 29 cents. Solana, $22. And then finally, Tron at 0.07. So like I said, we have seen some price action. Finally, we have seen some price action. Little bit expected, at the same time doesn't make it any easier when it does happen. However, we have been fully expecting something to happen this week. I mentioned it last week that this is quite a big week for crypto and financial, or this kind of normal financial space, because there's a lot of things going on this week in terms of meetings, changes, and yeah, it's obviously not great to see. We are feeling a bit down with the prices. However, hold tight. It's all part of the process. It's fine. I know me telling you that doesn't make it that easy, but look, XRP is still 65 cents, right? Can you imagine even 2 months ago if we were to say, oh, XRP will be sitting at 65 cents? Like, you wouldn't believe it because it was sitting at, 45, 50 cents for so long and below that for so long. Now, I get it. These times in crypto do feel like the world is ending. However, it's been great for the past few weeks. We're just having a bit of a cool off and still trying to break through some key levels that are proving quite difficult to do. However, time heals all. And the stock market, we posted this to Discord over the past kind of few days and weeks, but the standard financial markets are doing really, really well at the moment. Like, literally been at the highest point they have been at since like 2020 and before. So there's that. Plus, they've just downgraded the US for the first time since 2011. The last time they did that and announced that, it almost marked a bottom of kind of price action, and then the kind of standard markets went on to see a bit of a bull run themselves. So look, it's not all bad is what I'm trying to say here. Now, the media will put it out, and if it's the first time you've came across this type of news, then it can be quite shocking, and it can be like, oh, right, okay, we've got another few years to go, and that's kind of how it's supposed to feel. But like I said, the previous time this happened back in 2011, it almost looked like it marked a bottom, but we can't just purely base it on that one time that it's happened before, right? But look, just putting it out there, it's something to think about, and it's more about a kind of mindset thing I'm trying to give here, where prices are red, that's fine. Look, XRP's back to 66 cents already. So look, don't worry about it. All is well. We will continue to invest in crypto in a smart manner and remove the emotions from doing so. Anyway, that was a bit longer than expected to cover the prices, but I guess the point I'm trying to make here is prices are down, but you shouldn't be. There we go. How's that? Right, moving on to some news then. So first things first, Elizabeth Warren, we all know her. The Bernie Sanders as well, we all know him. Urge closure of $50 billion crypto tax gap. An interesting story to start today then. So in an August 1st letter, the Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Bob Casey and Richard Blumenthal warned the top officials of both agencies that they must swiftly act on new tax regulations. The senator claims that there is a $50 billion crypto tax gap, and the IRS and the Treasury risk missing out on roughly $1.5 billion in tax revenue for the 2024 financial year in tax policy, as if it is updated, or delayed, sorry. So this is funny because, again, they never really want to focus on trying to fix crypto in general in the US. They want to just figure out a way of stopping you using it or making money from it or taxing you or whatever it is. And I guess it kind of points out the fact that the government don't care about, well, they care about you, but they care about you to make money from you. You're just a pawn. You're just a number in their system for them to make money and get paid by you. And this, unfortunately, is kind of showing that. So it says here, giving the chance, tax evaders and the crypto intermediaries willing to aid them will continue to game the system, exploit loopholes. Well, I mean, if there's a loophole and it's been exploited, I mean, technically the loophole is there. If it's a known loophole, then how can it be a loophole? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I get the loophole thing. They're exploiting them. Well, that's fine. Fix the loopholes then. And people won't use the loopholes to game the system, as you say. Anyway, it also siphon off billions of dollars a year from the US government. You must not give them the chance. So, look, I'm not even going to go into most of this article because it is quite frustrating. And again, it's expected as well. It's frustrating, but it's also expected because this is exactly how governments work, especially the US government, who don't want to focus on trying to better the crypto space, trying to fix these loopholes that apparently there is, and they would rather just try and tax people more. Shows you the society that we live in and the government that we live with. Anywho, moving on. MicroStrategy to stay on Bitcoin course even if the spot ETFs are approved. Very interesting. Now, Michael Saylor spoke about on yesterday's video. So his firm believes that they remain enticing way for his firm will remain an enticing way for investors to gain exposure to Bitcoin, regardless of any future ETFs that are approved. Now, he also confirmed his firm's intention to continue adding more Bitcoin to its balance sheet, including the potential proceeds of planned $750 million share. Now, this actually shared this exact image last week. Now, it was from August 2020, and then it was the July 31st. I'm sure I must have shared it on that day then. But yeah, essentially, this whole thing that I'm trying to show you, in fact, you know what, let me open it up, make it a bit easier for you to see. But when I covered this last week, people often give Michael Saylor a bad time because of his Bitcoin investments and because of his company performance. But this was shared. And, well, I guess it kind of just proves a point. So, for example, here, his company is this one here, MSTR, up 254% since August 2020. Bitcoin is up 145%. The S&P is up 37%. The Nasdaq is up 31%. Gold, silver and bonds are all down. So, yeah, again, this kind of speaks for itself, I guess. But, yeah, like I said, he gets a lot of bad stick. And, yeah, people just say he's a bit of a, I think people call him a bit of an idiot, to be honest, because he's investing so heavily in Bitcoin. However, stats don't lie, numbers don't lie. And I guess he shared this and he's literally just tweeted out saying, consider Bitcoin strategy. Consider a Bitcoin strategy. And he's just proven a point that Bitcoin's the best performing asset. That's it. Simple as that. Now, going back to this here then. So he made similar comments during August 1st earnings call. So this was a few days ago, saying that MicroStrategy will still be differentiated as a particular Bitcoin operating strategy when the spot ETFs arrive. Now, here's a few quotes, right? So we can tap into leverage because we're an operating company, which an ETF couldn't do so. We view it as being beneficial to the entire ecosystem. On the other hand, Saylor said spot Bitcoin ETFs would allow large hedge funds and sovereigns to come into the space with billions of dollars. This is a point I've been making for weeks, if not months at this point. We need these ETFs to allow the real rich people. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's already billionaires and multimillionaires, millionaires, thousandaires, whatever you want to term them, already invested in crypto. However, a couple of extra billionaires wouldn't go amiss, would it? So, again, to quote him here, he says, "We are at a unique instrument. We are the sports car, whereas the spot ETF is going to be the super tanker." So spot ETFs will serve another set of customers in a synergetic fashion, is that the word, to grow the entire asset class. So again, exactly the point I've been making for months. We need these ETFs. We need the big rich guys who are probably quite kind of interested in Bitcoin and crypto. However, they cannot invest in it because they need an ETF. They need a company to invest for them. Bear in mind, these billionaires don't just have like a SwissBorg or a Binance account on their phone and they're investing 20 million, 30 million, 50 million at a time. That's not how it works. They have asset managers who work for Fidelity, for example, or Wisdom Tree, or whoever it may be, who are investing their money on behalf of. But what they'll do is Wisdom Tree or Fidelity, whoever it is, will buy the spot Bitcoin, and then they will kind of allocate parts of that spot Bitcoin to the investor with kind of keep taking their money in exchange. So that's why we need ETFs. Because look, I know it works for you and I, who's putting a couple of grand here and there, whatever it is, or trying to, into crypto in general, into a SwissBorg app or whatever. But like I said, billionaires don't really do that. Maybe they've got their own little kind of side kind of exchange where they put a couple of mil in, whatever it may be. But when it comes to investing, how billionaires invest, they're not using apps on their phones. Like, I know that sounds crazy because that's normal to us, but think about it. You're a billionaire. You want to have as less risk as possible. You're not going to be using your phone to be investing in crypto. But the issue is you can't really invest in crypto the way you want to because your asset manager can't invest for you because there's no ETF. Anyway, you get the point I'm trying to make here. Michael Saylor also strongly believes in that, and I believe that's why he's buying so heavily. He has 153,000 Bitcoin, worth over $4.4 billion today. He knows what's coming. He's a billionaire himself. He knows what's coming. I'm pretty sure he's a billionaire. I said that quite confidently, but now that I think about it, is he a billionaire? Or is he just a really, really rich man? I don't think he's a billionaire. Anyway, you get the point. The ETFs are needed. Saylor and his crew will still continue to accumulate Bitcoin even when the ETFs get approved, because the whole point of this game is to get as much Bitcoin as possible in his eyes. And that's that. Right, okay, moving back to a topic of conversation from the past week. Worldcoin. Now, Worldcoin's to allow government and businesses to use the ID system. So again, Worldcoin, for anyone that doesn't know, is a new crypto or blockchain project that is letting users scan their iris and give data to Worldcoin in exchange for some free tokens. I know, the world is a very strange place. So Worldcoin planned to expand its operations to allow governments and businesses to utilise its iris scanning and identity verifying technology in an effort to sign up more users. Interesting. According to the report, the general manager for Europe at Tools for Humanity, which is behind the Worldcoin project, said the company is on a mission of building the biggest financial and identity community possible. The idea is that as we build this infrastructure and that we allow other third parties to use the technology, it's just getting scarier as time goes and as kind of things progress. The world's just getting a crazy place, man. It feels like a movie, but anyway. So she also added that it plans to open source the technology that powers the iris scanning orbs to allow for a wider use of the product. Recently, other reports have circulated that Worldcoin has been struggling to sign up users post-launch. That's normally the case. However, the project's co-founder, Sam Altman, has opposed these claims with posts on Twitter showing a video of people queuing for the iris scans. She also then said in the future, orbs will be even more community-centric. And the idea is that anyone can in the future build their own orb and use it to benefit the community that it's aiming for. So, yeah, this is interesting. They're going to give the government and other businesses access to the iris and identity data. I don't know how much more I want to talk on this. I'm not an investor in Worldcoin. I do believe in the future, and I do believe in financial technology and this type of technology in general. However, it's a bit scary. It's happening. It's happening very much so in front of our eyes, literally. Our eyes, you get it? Iris, eyes. Hopefully you got that terrible reference. But yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one because governments have full control of you anyway, don't they? They control your bank. They can see every transaction. Your phone can track you. Like, if they really need to find you, they can find you. However, still, opting into the service of sharing your iris scan or this orb still seems a bit like, I don't know. Don't know about that. Not too sure. Anyway, let's move on. So, Ether ETFs pending. Grayscale, VanEck and others file SEC applications for an Ethereum ETF. Interesting. So, this is interesting news. Now, again, this is fully expected. I believe there will probably be an XRP ETF at some point as well. So, it's noted here then that 6 major asset managers, including Grayscale, VanEck, have filed fresh applications in a bid to launch an Ethereum futures exchange traded funds ETF in the US. So, separate filings submitted to the SEC, reviewed by Cointelegraph, outline respective applications from the likes of Grayscale, VanEck, Bitwise, Volatility Shares, ProShares, and Roundhill Capital. So here's a tweet here showing you the dates and then who they are, essentially. Now, Grayscale's filings include 2 applications, which is a proposed Grayscale Global Bitcoin Composite ETF and a Grayscale Ethereum Futures ETF. Grayscale's Ether ETF will invest in futures contracts that are set to be traded on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. The SEC filing notes that Grayscale's fund will primarily invest front-month Ether futures. Now, this is funny because I think this will get approved pretty soon. They seem to approve future ETFs rather than spot ETFs because obviously there's leverage involved and they can make more money a lot easier and sooner. But anyway, now, again, just to reconfirm, the front month Ether futures, which are contracts with the shortest time to maturity, Grayscale added that it intends to roll Ether futures contracts before they expire. Now, another company here, Volatility Shares, also outlined plans to list an Ether futures ETF, investing its asset in cash-settled contracts, referencing ETH trading on the same exchange in Chicago. It's noted that the fund will not invest directly in Ethereum. See that? That's the difference between a spot and a futures. It's not the same. It is not the same thing at all. So, Volatility's filings also notes that it intends to enter into the cash-settled Ether futures contracts as a buyer. Cash-settled futures markets typically see a counterparty pay cash to the buyer if the price of the futures contracts go up, while the buyer would pay the counterparty if the price of the futures contracts go down. So, again, there's I just don't know how I feel about the futures ones. I'm all for spot ETFs. I get that. I can get behind that. I think they make sense. But when it comes to the future ones, I just don't know if I think it's a great idea, to be honest. But hey ho. Now, VanEck also indicates that its investment strategy will look at investing in ETH futures contracts so that the value of ETH that the fund has exposure to is equal to 100% of the total assets in the fund. So that's a little bit different. The filing notes that any changes in the value of ETH would result in a larger change to VanEck's Ether fund. This would include the potential for greater losses than if the fund's exposure to the value of ETH was unleveraged. ProShares, the other company, then gave an overview of their short Ether strategy ETF, which will invest in daily contracts that look to profit on losses of the S&P CME Ether Futures Index. It's all getting a bit confusing. As explained, the Pro shares would gain as much as the index loses on a given day, while the converse would apply. Now, interestingly, these applications come in the wake of recent applications from various Main Street asset firms looking to launch Bitcoin ETFs. The world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, we all know who that is by now, is among those looking to offer what would be the first Bitcoin ETF. So, what have we learned from this article other than it gets quite confusing when it gets to futures or ETF futures? Well, I guess the main point here is we will probably see a futures ETF be approved first. We did kind of see that with a Bitcoin futures ETF being approved. The spot one is what we really want, and that's what investors who, again, millionaires, billionaires, who will get invested after the spot ETF is approved. However, the important part is the fact that these are going ahead. Whether you believe in them or not, or you trust them, or you even use them, that doesn't matter at the moment. The main point that matters here is the fact that it's happening. They're filing these applications. The SEC are acknowledging them. They may approve them, they may deny them. It doesn't matter. The fact is we're progressing forward, and that's, again, the most important part. So don't think just because you don't use an ETF or you won't use an ETF that they're not important or they're a waste of time or whatever it may be. Focus on what happens if a spot ETF happens or gets approved by either the Bitcoin one or the Ethereum one. Or look, even an XRP one, who knows? But yeah, look, anyway, I know that's not always like the best news. You want to talk about ETFs, right? I get it. You want to talk about prices. However, that's not what's always important in the news throughout the week. And I do feel that ETFs are quite important. Anyway, moving on to a couple of tweets here then. So I don't know if anyone's seen this last night. Hopefully you did. But Bitstamp put out this very interesting tweet or post, however it's now termed, but literally just said tomorrow with the hashtags XRP, XRPL and XRP Ledger, and then this little video that's playing on your screen now saying taking XRP to the next level. So not sure what it is, but apparently it's happening today. So we'll pay close attention to this. I'm not quite sure what's going on. The fact that it's XRP Ledger, I can't really think. Are they going to be allowing payments or something? Let's see what the comment says is here. So XRP Ledger is coming for all crypto exchanges. Nah, there's nothing really. There's nothing really even in the comments to kind of give an understanding of what's going on. But anyway, Bitstamp are a long-standing and quite an old exchange. So regardless, still positive, still great to see. We will, like I said, keep you updated with whatever comes out today. That was posted yesterday afternoon. So yeah, let's see what happens today, shall we? Now lastly, very interesting here. So which egotistic billionaire is going to step up and build a bigger Bitcoin position than Saylor? So Michael Saylor. You guys just going to let him run away with it. So I guess this is quite important because I think we kind of get maybe lost or we forget the fact that there's a lot of billionaires out there, a lot of rich people out there that are not invested in Bitcoin yet or crypto in general. Michael Saylor is at the forefront. He has 153,000 Bitcoin almost. And, well, who else has some? Or who else publicly has come out to say that they have some? Now, what you do find is rich people all talk to rich people. It's like almost like a community that, again, we've all got group chats. Well, there's billionaire group chats that you will never get to see, unfortunately. I wish we could. But, yeah, there is group chats out there, and when you get to a certain echelon of life and financial, then you get into different groups. So don't think for a second that Michael Saylor isn't in a group chat with Elon Musk, and I can't even think of any billionaires off the top of my head, but any well-known billionaire that you can imagine, and even some unknown billionaires as well. I'd imagine are just in like a group chat that's just like dollar signs or there's like I don't even know what the group chat name would be called, but I'm sure they send in memes, I'm sure they send in photos just like anyone else. They're just regular guys at the end of the day. They just so happen to have billions of pounds or billions of dollars at their disposal. However, what point am I trying to make about that, other than the fact I would love to see Michael Saylor's group chat, I guess, with the lads, with the billionaire lads, because I'm sure it is just fairly normal. Or they just go on about how rich they are. I don't know. I can't imagine. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is billionaires talk to each other. Billionaires take a lot of advice from other billionaires. A rich man will never take advice from a poor man, is kind of what they say. And, well, if Michael Saylor's seen to be at the forefront of buying all this Bitcoin, he's going to be telling his rich friends and they're going to be like, do you know what, actually? I'm going to get some. And I think that's kind of what he did with Elon Musk back 2021 kind of time. He had a conversation, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Michael Saylor helped Tesla helped Elon Musk get Tesla on board with crypto and stuff. And then there's a lot of things running back in 2021 from Michael Saylor. But anyway, the point I'm making again, I always feel like I need to say that, the point I'm trying to make here, because I go off on one. But the point I am trying to make is that billionaires talk. They talk in private. They take advice from each other. And he's buying crypto or Bitcoin like there's no tomorrow. We know that. Sorry, welcome back to Cough and Crypto. So the point of this tweet that Will Clemente has made here, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is who's next? Who's going to follow suit? Because someone's going to do it, or someone is already doing it and just haven't publicly came out and explained that they're doing it, because that's usually what happens. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this episode of Coffee and Crypto. If you have just recently joined us on this live stream, because remember, this is recorded live every single morning, please go back and watch the full video. What is going on? I really need to rename this stream Cough and Crypto. Let's try that again, shall we? If you have just joined us, again, it's a live stream every single morning. So go back, watch the full video. There was loads to get through. I spoke a little bit about prices because prices are down at the moment. So go back to the start of the video and see what I was talking regarding the prices. If you're watching it back throughout the day, the evening, the night, whatever it may be, let me know. How are you consuming coffee and crypto? Are you out a walk with the dogs? Are you in the car? Let me know. I'm interested. Anyway, I'll see you all tomorrow for another installment of Coffee and Crypto, bright and early, 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. if you're managing to catch it live. I will see you all again tomorrow. So thanks very much for tuning in. See ya.